divinely revealed secrets. Why the chosen ones are miraculously protected this August 19th. In the quaint village of Willowbrook, word spread like wildfire. Divinely revealed secrets. Why the chosen ones are miraculously protected this August 19th. It sent a shiver down Clara's spine, a call to faith echoing through her heart. The villagers caught wind of an impending storm, fueled by the breeze of skepticism. Yet, for Clara, it was more than a warning. It was a whisper from the heavens above. She knew divine protection awaited those who held steadfast in prayer. That very night, Clara was wrapped in the warmth of slumber when a dream unfolded with brilliance. Ethereal light bathed her in a glorious glow, casting shadows of warmth over her small family. In the depths of the vision, Saint Michael, their steadfast patron, wielded a shimmering sword, a guardian against the shadows creeping ever closer. Fear not, Clara. Miraculous protection is promised to the faithful. Echoed a voice like thunder, yet gentle as the rustle of leaves. Clara woke, tears of joy streaming as she felt renewed purpose surge through her veins. With incredible fervor, she gathered her children each evening, joining hands around their modest kitchen table. Beloved ones, she spoke, excitement bubbling in her chest. We shall pray together, for our faith binds us and our hearts beat as one. Each prayer that rose with the flickering candlelight was laced with hope, a melody of conviction against the gathering storm clouds. They felt a powerful presence, a tangible warmth that enveloped their hearts. Clara's children began to share in her spirit, their innocence ablaze with the joy of belief. But in their village, shadows loomed larger than the hills. Martin, her cynical neighbor, often belittled her unwavering faith. You really think a saint will save us from what is coming? Stooping to such nonsense, won't he protect you? He chortled, laughter rolling through the air like thunder. His mocking words echoed, poisoning the hearts of some, creating fissures in Clara's resolve. As August 19th grew near, ominous winds began to howl ominously. Rumors stirred panic, coaxing the villagers to flee while stockpiling supplies and barricades for a storm that threatened their very existence. Clara stood firm in her quietude. With each night that passed, she prayed harder, determined that faith would sever the chains of despair. "O Saint Michael, deliver us!" she cried with fervor as lightning painted the sky with jagged streaks. The fateful night arrived, and the skies unleashed their fury. Thunder rumbled ominously, and rain lashed at windows. Clara knelt in her humble home, faith trembling like the waning candle flames. "Lord, grant me strength," she whispered, feeling the cacophony of wind seep into her spirit. Just when despair encroached, a radiant light sliced through the storm, illuminating Clara's heart. A sweet, calming whisper wrapped around her, saying, "Your faith will shield you." Waves of peace surged forth, for Clara understood she was not alone. As the churning storm howled, the villagers abandoned their frantic attempts to save themselves, eyes drawn inexorably toward that divine light. With Saint Michael's protection beckoning the darkness to retreat, the winds whipped through Willowbrook, and apprehension morphed into awe. The heartbeats of disbelief began to sync with Clara's faith, trembling like leaves kissed by the warm summer breeze. That very moment, caught between heaven and earth, Clara grasped every heart that watched. A sense of unity began to flicker amongst the frightened souls. The divine mystery lingered in the air, questioning their doubts, whispering hope. Would their hearts meld under the unyielding embrace of faith? Or would despair strangle their newfound harmony as the storm continued to rage? Clara's heart pounded, ignited with the anticipation of miraculous wonders yet to unfold as destiny approached with the light of dawn. As dawn began to break, the storm eased, unraveling its fury like a forgotten dream. Light crept into Willowbrook, casting long shadows that whispered of a brand-new day. Clara, still kneeling, felt the presence of Saint Michael close by, as if the spirit of the archangel lingered just behind her. She opened her eyes, and gratitude flowed into her heart, warming her like the sun peeking over the horizon. The villagers emerged from their homes, eyes wide with a mixture of wonder and relief. The streets were strewn with debris, yet among the shattered branches and scattered leaves, a miraculous peace descended upon them. As they glanced at each other, something shifted. Clara noticed a trembling hope gathering in their voices. Conversations that once held doubt now sparked with anxious excitement. "Did you see that light?" whispered old Mrs. Thompson, her hands clasped in prayer. "It was as if heaven itself touched us." "Yes," cried young Samuel, his eyes gleaming. "It pushed the storm away. Our prayers worked." Clara's heart swelled as they gathered together in the center of the village, the remnants of their fear washed away by the morning light. St. Michael's promise resonated deeply. Faith had woven an invisible thread that bound them tighter than any threat could sever. She smiled at her children, who stood by her side, their faces shining with pure joy. Taking a step forward, Clara raised her voice, filled with purpose. "Friends, though storms may come, let's not forget the power of our faith. We were not merely protected, we were united. Our prayers became our shield." A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. Faces turned toward her, eyes reflecting the dawning understanding that belief could indeed alter their reality. In the heart of Willowbrook, a community began to blossom anew, flourishing in the mingling joys of shared faith. Yet, there was still a shadow lurking in Clara's heart. Martin's laughter echoed in her mind like the fading thunder of the night before. She hadn't seen him since the storm passed. Had he joined the others in prayer? Or did he remain ensconced in his disbelief? The pull of compassion urged Clara to seek out her neighbor. She took a deep breath and began to walk toward Martin's home, the path lined with gathering villagers. They offered warm smiles, exchanging encouragement. Yet Clara's resolve was tested by a single thought: would she be met with scorn or acceptance? The people of the village were quickly shedding fears, growing in unity, but Martin had held tightly to his cynicism. Would he embrace this newfound faith, or would the shadows of doubt cling to him still? As she reached his doorstep, Clara hesitated. A gentle breeze swirled around her, sending leaves scuttling across the ground. Then she knocked softly, heart racing, awaiting whatever response would greet her. In that moment, she felt the weight of every prayer they had whispered. They were needed more than ever, not just for her family and friends, but for even those who seemed lost. "Clara," a voice trembled from within. "You're here for a reason." With that echo, what awaited her behind the door remained a mystery wrapped in potential. She clenched her palms, preparing her heart for the encounter. Would she find a heart open to change? Or would clinging doubt extinguish the fragile hope that had ignited within their village? As the door creaked open, Clara steeled herself, stepping into the unknown, eager to embrace whatever unfolded next. The door swung open slowly, revealing Martin with tousled hair and weary eyes. His expression was a mixture of surprise and apprehension as he regarded Clara, standing boldly on his threshold. There was a heaviness in the air, a tension thick with unspoken words and potential truths. "Clara, what brings you here?" he asked, his voice low and uncertain. "I had to see you after the storm," she replied gently, her heart racing with concern. "I thought you might need company. We all felt something last night, something powerful." Martin's gaze flickered to the ground, the light behind him illuminating the dim interior of his home. Clara could sense the conflict swirling within him, like clouds still marred by the remnants of a storm. "I don't know what you mean," he murmured, shaking his head slowly. "What if it's true?" Clara pressed, stepping forward, needing him to feel the hope radiating within her. "What if there is guidance, divine love that protects us? We're meant to support one another, especially now." He scoffed softly, yet Clara could see the crack beneath his facade. It was like a tiny flicker in a darkened room, begging for light. "You speak of faith as though it's something I can just reach out and grab," he said, bitterness lacing his words. "What do you really know?" Tears threatened to spill from Clara's eyes, not from hurt, but from sheer compassion. I know that we were brought together for a reason. I know that when I prayed, I felt light. I felt Saint Michael standing with us. You've been carrying burdens alone, but you don't have to. Faith can lift that weight. Martin crossed his arms, caught between skepticism and a longing for something more. And if I fail to believe, what then? Clara reached out, her hand resting gently on the doorframe, a bridge between them. Faith isn't about certainty, Martin. It's about taking a step, even when the path isn't clear. It's about the heart, a yearning for connection, for hope. As she spoke, the corners of his mouth twitched, a struggle between disbelief and the faintest glimmer of wonder. Clara felt the air shift slightly, a divine presence wrapping around them like a warm embrace. Sometimes I feel so lost, Martin confessed finally, his walls beginning to crumble. I can hardly recognize this new world around me. I thought storms were all that awaited. A new dawn shines on Willowbrook, and it can shine in your life too, she said softly. You don't have to face those storms alone. Let us walk together through this. Let your heart open to the possibility of love, hope, and faith. For a brief moment, Clara held her breath, waiting for the answer hidden behind his eyes. The glimmer of potential lingered there. She could see it if she looked hard enough. Just as Martin opened his mouth to respond, the ground beneath them trembled slightly. Clara's heart raced again as a cacophony of whispers swept through the village, reverberating from the very core of their shared faith. It was a gathering urgency that called for their attention. What was happening? Martin's eyes widened with concern. Something powerful draws near, Clara breathed, sensing a divine movement, a stirring in the atmosphere. As the murmurs intensified, Clara took a step back, pulling Martin gently as they turned their gaze toward the village center. The light seemed to shimmer anew. What could it reveal? Clara, Martin said, urgency softening his tone. If we were truly meant to stand together, we must act. We must not let this moment slip away with hearts aligned. They stepped into the unknown, eager to uncover what awaited them amidst the hopeful cries of the villagers. Miracles often lingered just beyond the hesitation of belief. Would they truly discover the power of faith intertwined with each other as souls? Or would doubt once more cast a shadow over hope? The villagers congregated at the center, their faces lit by the ethereal glow that poured from the heavens. Clara could feel the energy in the air, electric yet tranquil, a holy concoction of anticipation and wonder wrapping around them. Murmurs flowed like a soft stream, each voice rising and falling, echoing the sentiment of shared hope. What do you think it could be? Martin asked, his skepticism wrestling with an undercurrent of excitement that Clara found infectious. She turned to him, her heart swelling with encouragement. It's the spirit of our land, Martin. It's God's promise unfolding before us. It feels like a revival, she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with fervor. As they reached the gathering, the vision before them was unlike anything they had ever witnessed. Villagers held hands, forming a circle that pulsed with light. The air shimmered as if heaven had pressed against earthly fabric, bridging the two worlds. Without knowing how, Clara and Martin found themselves mingling among the others, stepping into the powerful light. It beckoned them. It felt welcoming, a loving embrace urging them to let go of their fears and doubts. Can you see it? One elder exclaimed, lifting her hands toward the heavens as though inviting the crowd to behold a divine spectacle. What a glorious moment! Another added, tears of joy cascading down her cheeks. Clara squeezed Martin's hand, and together they raised their eyes skyward. A swirling mass of light descended, dancing amidst their assembled faith, illuminating the faces of those who looked on in awe. A sense of belonging enveloped her, reminding Clara that she was part of something greater, something sacred. It's beautiful, just beautiful, Martin whispered, his voice barely audible as he stared in reverence. In that moment, Clara could see the softening in his spirit, the weariness in his eyes giving way to a flicker of hope. It was as if the burdens he had carried began to lift. She could almost feel them dissipating into the luminous air. Suddenly, from the heart of the gathering, a voice rose above the rest, sonorous and gentle, yet filled with authority. Clara glanced toward the source. It was the village priest, Father Thomas, standing tall, imbued with an essence that demanded both respect and attention. "My dear friends," he began, his voice carrying a resonance that seemed to echo from the very foundation of their faith. "Today, we witness not merely an event, but a divine revelation. God's love is manifesting among us, a love that cradles the weary, that transforms doubt into light. This is our moment to remember why we are united, because we are chosen." Clara felt the heat of Martin's hand warming hers, a reassurance amid the stirring words. The priest continued, igniting the hearts of the villagers, weaving stories of miracles past, of grace bestowed upon those who dared to believe. She caught glimpses of faces in the crowd, uplifted spirits responding to the priest's fervor. It was like embers igniting a fire of faith within each individual. As Clara listened, uncertainty faded within her. She longed to embrace this divine truth with Martin by her side. Now is not just the time for faith. It is a call to action. Stand firm, beloved of God. The storms have passed, and hope shines brighter than the darkest night. Father Thomas declared, his voice rising to meet the heavens. The ripples of strength mingled with the breeze, wrapping around them like a gentle hug. Clara felt a warmth fill her heart, a reassurance that their journey together was only just beginning. Unity radiated through the villagers as they raised their voices in a chorus of praise. But within the swell of their faith, a question loomed like a distant rumble of another storm preparing to emerge. What trials lay ahead, and who among them would be called to confront them? Clara glanced at Martin, a mixture of excitement and trepidation dawning upon them. Their gaze met, a silent promise, an unspoken commitment. Boldness tinged her heart. They had crossed a threshold, yet their newest chapters awaited. Spiritual trials that beckoned them to discover profound truths. What would the next revelation be? As they stood together, the crowd around them in prayer, they sensed the stirring of something significant drawing near. Clara took a deep breath, the electric atmosphere surrounding her pulsing through her veins like the beat of a great drum. The voices of the villagers rose around her, mingling harmoniously as they sang praises, weaving a tapestry of devotion that blended into the very light that danced above them. It felt as if the very soul of their community was singing out a symphony of faith echoing across the ages. "Look!" Martin gasped, and Clara turned to see what had caught his attention. High above them, within the glowing mass, she noticed what appeared to be figures, angelic shapes emanating peace, their outlines softly shimmering in divine light. A collective gasp escaped the crowd, drawing forth tears of reverence and wonder. "Are they angels?" Martin whispered, his voice trembling with awe and disbelief. Clara's heart fluttered as she pondered the possibility. God has sent his messengers. They're here to guide us, to remind us that we are never alone. She breathed, feeling a warmth envelop her, filling her with a sense of belonging and purpose. Father Thomas raised his arms, the light intensifying around him, washing over the villagers like a wave. "Let us bask in his glory. Feel the love that flows through each of us. Let it revive our spirits," he proclaimed. Each word he uttered rang like a bell, clear and true, further igniting the fire that had begun to blaze within Clara and the others. As the villagers joined hands tighter, Clara's heart stirred. She could feel a new form of strength arising among them, a community ready to face whatever awaited beyond this luminous moment. Benjamin, typically solemn and reserved, had tears streaming down his face, illuminated by the radiant light. His low, trembling voice joined the chorus, whispering prayers so sincere that Clara felt them pierce her heart. Perhaps this was the moment they had all been waiting for, a moment to set aside their fears and embrace the divine plans above. Clara glanced at Martin, who seemed transformed, his face aglow with inspiration, the flickering shadows of doubt dissipating. She wondered, was he starting to see the light too? Despite the ecstasy surrounding them, a question began to arise in the back of Clara's mind, lingering like a ghost. What was the purpose of this visitation? What did it require of them? She could sense an unshakable truth. They were being summoned to a new mission, one that would test their belief and commitment. The priest continued, his voice booming with authority and tenderness. But beware, dear ones, for as we open our hearts to his blessings, shadows may also loom, testing our resolve. Clara's heart raced. Shadows? Trials? The words resonated deep within her. Would they, too, be called into adversity? She briefly felt uncertainty creep back, but then Clara stole a glance at the shimmering figures above. The angels shone down, bathing her in warmth, reinforcing her belief that they would not face these challenges alone. The villagers responded to the call, voices lifting in a unified pledge to walk whatever path God laid before them. We will stand firm, they cried, the power of their collective conviction vibrating in Clara's chest. But as the prayer continued, a sense of urgency pulsed through the air, a warning, perhaps, of trials lying ahead that would test the depths of their faith. The blessings unfolding beneath the divine glow might indeed bring both ease and necessity. Clara's spirit tensed, wondering about the fate that awaited them. In that crucial moment, she made a silent vow. She would seek the truth, whatever it may bring, alongside Martin and their fellow villagers. Clara felt the gentle, reassuring tug of God's presence, her heart swelling with unwavering faith. Yet the enticing glow above faded, and with it, the chorus of voices quieted. The priest looked above, a solemn expression crossing his face, anticipation brewing once more. We must be ready, dear friends, for tonight, as we bear witness to this revelation, the true test awaits us, a divine challenge destined to manifest very soon. Clara and Martin locked eyes once more, courage brewing within them. What trials lurked ahead? Would their faith withstand the storms yet to come? As the light danced and the night deepened, they stood together, hearts ablaze, poised to face the divine mystery, ready to embrace whatever miraculous twist life had in store. The stillness hung thick after the vibrant display of light, a serene hush settling over the gathered crowd. Clara's pulse quickened in rhythm with the intensity of the moment. She felt an echo of expectation reverberating through the villagers, each heart alive with wonder and trepidation. The air felt charged, as if time itself paused to observe their unity. Father Thomas lowered his arms, his voice rich with conviction. As we look upon the angels, remember that their presence is not only a gift, but a charge. We are called to embody the light of their guidance. His words wrapped around Clara like a warm blanket, igniting a newfound zeal to dive deeper into the calling laid before them. Martin squeezed her hand, his grip reassuring. Clara, what if we are chosen for something truly extraordinary? He asked, the spark of excitement igniting in his eyes. What if this is our chance to do something great, to be vessels of his mercy? A wave of exhilaration washed over her. Yes, but what must we do? Her voice trembled with the thrill of possibility. It felt as if the angels were listening, their shimmering forms signaling encouragement. Clara couldn't help but ponder, was this divine invitation? A joyous shout erupted from Benjamin, his voice breaking through the silence. We must prepare ourselves. We must study the word, gather strength, and share our gifts among us. Only then can we face whatever comes. His echoed sentiment filled the villagers with resolve. Clara saw others nodding in agreement, their spirits rising, ready to embrace their destiny. As the villagers discussed how to move forward, Clara's gaze drifted back to the luminous sky. The stars shimmered gently, like flickering candles, sharing ancient stories of faith and strength. Each twinkle whispered promises of divine protection. but dread lingered like a shadow at the fringes of their hopeful gathering. In the back of her mind, Clara sensed the imminent trials that lay ahead. The priest's caution lingered in the air, nudging her spirit. Would their new journey demand sacrifices? Would each step toward divine purpose come at cost? A gentle breeze rustled through the trees, whispering secrets of the night. Was it just her imagination, or did the angels shift in the light, their expressions a mix of encouragement and warning? Clara inhaled deeply, filling her lungs with the sweet scent of earth and blooming flowers, reminding her of the beauty entwined with faith's trials. "Tonight we prepare," Clara exclaimed, her voice cutting through the murmurings. "We will gather our skills and our hearts. We will read together, pray with purpose, and share our stories. God has united us, and we cannot falter when the challenge comes." An electric energy filled the space around them, their bond strengthening, and the fear that once coiled around Clara's heart began to loosen. The villagers erupted into spirited conversation, ideas blooming, laughter ringing free as they formed teams, tapping into the diverse talents among them. But amid the swirl of excitement, she couldn't shake a persistent question. What form would this divine challenge take? And how would they rise to meet it? Clara's gaze darted between her friends, their faces alive with hope, yet shadowed by the unknown. As the night deepened, the bright glow began to fade, leaving behind a hushed stillness that felt almost sacred. Clara raised her eyes skyward, praying for understanding. "Lord, prepare us. Show us our way." Then came a shiver, not just the cool night air, but a palpable shift. It felt electric, charged with anticipation. Suddenly, a gust swept through the gathering, sending chills down her spine. A single feather, pure and shining like moonlight, spiraled down from the sky and landed softly at Clara's feet. The gathered villagers hushed, captivated by the feather's arrival, as if it were a sign. Father Thomas stepped forward reverently, cradling the feather as if it were the most precious treasure. This he breathed, his voice barely above a whisper, could be a message from above. What does it mean for us? Clara's heart raced. Could this be the spark of the divine trials ahead? The moment of revelation had begun, but how would they interpret the message now resting at their feet? In the silence that followed, the possibilities flooded Clara's mind, her spirit alight with awe. They were on the precipice of the unknown, and as they gathered closer together, the mystery that wrapped around them felt alive, ready to unfurl in ways they could not yet imagine. A hush fell as Father Thomas lifted the feather, examining it against the backdrop of twinkling stars. The villagers leaned in closer, their faces a canvas of curiosity and reverence. Clara felt a pulse of collective breath, as if they all held their hearts on the edge of something profound. "What do you see?" Benjamin whispered, his eyes wide as he stared at the priest. Father Thomas turned to the crowd, that feather glinting like a beacon. "This feather is a symbol," he declared, eyes shining with fervor. "A reminder that we are under divine care. The angels are not distant. They are here with us, guiding us." A wave of warmth washed over Clara. The belief that they were not alone settled into her spirit like sweet honey. Her gaze drifted to Martin, who smiled back at her with eyes filled with hope. God is preparing us, Clara thought, inspiration blooming within. But for what exactly? Even as they felt drawn together in unity, Clara couldn't shake the nagging uncertainty she sensed was near. A flicker of worry surfaced at the corners of her mind. The possibilities of their fate danced like shadows in the night. As if sensing her turmoil, Martin squeezed her hand again, grounding her. "Whatever comes, we face it together," he promised, the deep sincerity in his voice steadying her heart. Father Thomas kept speaking, drawing the villagers closer. "But we must remain vigilant as well. The feather also reminds us that blessings often come intertwined with challenges. While we are chosen, we must also be prepared to endure and to overcome." The wise words felt like a gentle admonishment, an admonition wrapped in hope. Clara looked at the faces of her friends, and something profound sparked in her chest. Maybe this challenge isn't just about facing fear, she mused aloud. Maybe it's also about discovering our strengths, uniting our gifts. Exactly, Benjamin chimed in, his passion bubbling over. What if we use this sign to fuel our preparations? Each of us has a gift, and together we can weave them into something that honors this moment. And perhaps what we learn and share will be how we face whatever trials come our way, Clara added, feeling emboldened. Every heart present was ignited, a beautiful tapestry of dreams woven under the light of the stars and the watchful gaze of the heavens. The villagers began to murmur and split into groups. They brainstormed ways to work through their fears, utilizing their diverse skills. Clara found herself with Martin, Benjamin, and a few others huddled together, excitement wrapping around them like an embrace. What if we start by gathering stories of hope? Clara suggested, her voice gaining strength. Stories of God's faithfulness that can prepare us? Yes, said Martin, his enthusiasm infectious. Let us create a place where we can share experiences of what God has done. As they exchanged ideas, Clara felt a gentle stirring in her heart, a bubbling anticipation. She envisioned a gathering space filled with laughter and faith where every voice contributed to a larger narrative of trust and courage. Yet, the shadow of the unknown lingered on the horizon. What trials awaited them, truly? Clara closed her eyes and whispered a prayer, seeking further guidance. Lord, reveal your path. Illuminate our steps. At that moment, a light gust danced through, ruffling their hair and sending a flurry of leaves spiraling downward. Clara opened her eyes just in time to see a fleeting glimpse of white light shimmer between the trees. The air crackled with possibilities, an electric invitation to something deeper. Did you see that? Benjamin exclaimed, pointing toward where the light had vanished. Yes, something is coming, Martin replied, his voice low with awe. And it feels beautiful. Clara's heart raced again, each beat echoing the sacred energy surrounding them. Whatever awaited divine challenge, miraculous blessing was set into motion. It was clear now, the adventure was not just about survival. It was an unveiling of their true selves, of the light within them, ignited by the divine. As they prepared together, the gathering grew vibrant with faith and love, each moment thick with anticipation. Little did they know, the real test of their spirits was not far behind. With hearts united and minds open, they stood ready to embrace whatever came next, knowing one truth was sure. God always walks with his chosen ones. And as Clara gazed toward the shimmering horizon, a new question arose in her heart: what form would their upcoming trial take, and how would they emerge from it transformed? The night air shimmered with an undercurrent of expectancy. Clara could feel her heart pounding, resonating with the excitement and worries shared among her friends. The soft glow of twilight wrapped around them, casting long shadows that danced like spirits at play. Let us build a place of hope. Benjamin's voice carried a contagious zeal as he brushed a few errant leaves from his shirt. A circle where we recount the miracles and the lessons God has taught us through trials. Together, we can remind each other how to trust in him. Clara nodded, her excitement bubbling. This gathering would be more than just stories. It would be a lifeline to draw from a source of strength they could all lean on. I want to find a way we can also share our fears. Not just hope, but the vulnerabilities that make us human, she added, her voice steady with conviction. Some of the villagers had gathered nearby, drawn by their energy. A few approached the group slowly, curiosity painted across their faces. Among them was old Martha, her brow creased with wisdom, her hands trembling slightly as she spoke. In my years, I've seen how sharing burdens lightens the load. Let's weave our fears and hopes into one fabric. It's like a tapestry of faith, Martin remarked, a bright spark in his eyes. Each thread counts, and together they create something beautiful. The villagers murmured with agreement, smiles breaking over worried faces. Clara's spirits lifted as the gathering felt more alive. They began to exchange ideas of what the circle might look like, visions of candlelit evenings filled with stories, laughter, prayers, and silence that honored their fears while celebrating their faith. Yet, as they spoke, an unshakable feeling lingered in Clara's chest. The horizon glowed with that ethereal light, an omen of what was to come. Each flicker of faith from their hearts felt like a beacon, intertwining with the mysteries lingering in the air. "Let us get started right away," she suggested, her voice firm. They would gather at the old oak tree, where whispers of the past seemed to mingle with the breeze. "We can meet tomorrow and share all we've carried. I believe those stories will prepare us." Father Thomas, standing at the edge of their circle, had watched this exchange with a kind smile. "You are planting seeds, my children," he said softly. "In community, there's healing and strength. God loves when we share, especially in his name." As the night deepened, laughter and chatter grew bolder. They wrote lists, shared memories, and pooled resources. Clara felt the heaviness within her start to lift. But just as she began to revel in their unity, the air soured, a sudden chill twisted through the night. The flicker of the earlier light returned momentarily, much brighter and more assertive, drawing all their gazes. A collective gasp broke from the crowd. The laughter silenced, transformed into a hum of uncertainty. "Is it the angels?" someone whispered. "I think it might be more than just that," Martin added, his brow furrowed with concern. "What do you mean?" Clara asked, feeling the weight of his words. A low rumble, almost like distant thunder, rolled through the air. It was as if the universe itself were shifting. "I just have this feeling," Martin hesitated, glancing towards the ominous glow enveloping the bordering woods. "What if this is a sign that something is about to change? Something that will demand all of us, our strengths and our fears alike." His words resonated in Clara's mind, settling like a stone dropped into a pond, causing ripples. Had they truly prepared enough for what lay beyond? The villagers exchanged uneasy glances, their earlier excitement dimmed by a shadow of foreboding. Clara's heart quickened again, filled with questions far beyond their control. With bated breath, she whispered a prayer into the shifting night, asking for discernment and strength. "Lord, ready us for what lies ahead." And as they stood there, together in the face of uncertainty, Clara wondered what revelations awaited them in the dark. What truth would emerge when the dawn broke? After the storm, a heavy silence draped over the gathering, the kind that seemed to absorb whispers and hollow breaths. Clara squared her shoulders, steeling herself against the tension. The luminous glow pulsed at the edge of the woods, drawing the attention of every heart present. "Let us not lose hope." Clara finally spoke, her voice tinged with a tremor, but she pressed on. "Whatever darkness may loom, we have each other. Our faith binds us." The villagers shifted, heads nodding slightly, as if her words wove a fragile thread of comfort through the fraying fabric of their nerves. She could see the flickering courage in their eyes, yet fear marshaled at the periphery. Old Martha stepped forward, clasping her hands, her wise eyes gazing into the distance where the glow held sway. "Sometimes the shadows are where we find our strength," she said softly, her voice a balm to quivering souls. "Every trial brings us closer to the heart of God. Fear not, for he walks with us." "That is true," Benjamin agreed, nervously brushing damp strands of hair from his forehead. "If there are changes coming, we must be ready to face them together. We build this circle not just for joy, but to stand for one another through the storms." Clara felt renewed vigor. Both his and Martha's strength began to weave into her spirit. She closed her eyes briefly, absorbing the warmth of shared devotion, the promise of God's presence. Suddenly, a series of soft fluttering sounds echoed through the air like a quiet invitation. "What was that?" someone called out, fingers pointing towards the thickening woods. The air shimmered again, but this time, instead of fear, Clara sensed a stirring of excitement. "Let us approach the edge," she urged. "Together, let us see what awaits us." With the villagers, Clara moved closer, each cautious step a mingling of anticipation and dread. As they approached, the glow brightened, revealing delicate wisps of light darting among the trees like fireflies caught in a holy dance. Benjamin gasped. They look like angels? Or perhaps the spirits of our ancestors? What if they are here to guide us? Martin whispered, hope flickering in his voice. Clara felt the tremor of possibility ripple through the gathering. An invisible tether connected their hearts, firming their resolve. But just then, the ground beneath them shook, and gasps of fear rose anew. The light dimmed momentarily, casting eerie shadows that flickered like specters on the tree trunks. Clara felt her heart race at the sudden shift, an impending wave of uncertainty crashing over her. Stay close, Clara shouted, their spirit encircling tightly as the earth quaked to a silent rhythm beneath their feet. We are stronger together. In that moment, courage surged through Clara. She extended her hand outwards, reaching for the glow, feeling the electric charge that buzzed with the weight of divine purpose. As she did, the shimmering lights brightened again, forming an archway between the trees, inviting them further. What is God trying to tell us? Clara whispered, awash in wonder and standing at the brink of revelation. Beyond the arch, she felt the promise of truth waiting, shrouded in light. Father Thomas joined her side, resting a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Miracles often come draped in mystery. Sometimes we must step into the unknown to behold his glory, he murmured, eyes gleaming with belief. With their hearts pounding in unison, they prepared to cross the threshold. Was this where they would discover the answers to their fears, the comfort in their struggles? The decision loomed like an open door, daunting yet alive with possibility. As they stood there, dangling between the known and the rising unknown, Clara's thoughts echoed her unshakable prayer. What transformation awaited them as the dusk faded, touched by a surge of hope? With determination fluttering in their hearts, they took the first step together, ready or not. And as the first light of dawn peeked over the horizon, Clara's heart whispered a single question. Would faith lead them to grace, or would they find challenges beyond? Imagining? The forest was alive with an unseen energy, shimmering with the promise of divine connection. Clara held her breath as the villagers stepped forward together, courage lifting them as one. Each footfall echoed within, resonating with an overwhelming sense of purpose. The archway before them radiated pure light, pulsing like the heartbeat of an unseen presence. As Clara crossed the threshold, a wave of warmth enveloped her, washing over her spirit. She felt secure, illuminated by light that banished shadows and unveiled truth. They were stepping into a sacred space. Together, they wandered deeper into the woodland, the whispers of faith swirling around them like a holy hymn. Look, Martin gasped, pointing to a soft glow above, and Clara's heart swelled as she beheld angels fluttering gracefully amidst the trees, each one exuding peace, compassion, and guidance. They glided effortlessly, their wings catching sunlight and transforming it into a cascade of radiant colors. It's stunning, Clara breathed, feeling hope bubble within her. The fear from earlier faded away as the celestial beings drew nearer, enveloping the group in a circle of unearthly light. She could hear a gentle whisper, the echo of heaven itself, urging them onward. Father Thomas stepped forward, his eyes glimmering with faith, and Clara felt the pride swelling in her chest as he spoke. Dear ones, we have entered a holy realm, a moment of unveiling where God's message shines bright. We are here not for the trials, but for the strength and blessings awaiting us. A hush fell over the gathering, an expectant silence stilled by the angel's majestic presence. Clara glanced around at her fellow villagers, their gazes illuminated, hearts entwined in faith. Never had she felt such unity, such powerful emotion. Every yearning prayer, every whispered hope had led them to this pivotal moment. Suddenly, the archangels descended, radiating warmth and strength, hovering gracefully above the villagers. "Fear not," a voice boomed, resonating like a drum across the canopy of trees. "You are beloved. You are chosen." A wave of peace surged through Clara as the villagers echoed sentiments of gratitude and wonder. She could see Martin's expression shift, the barriers of skepticism crumbling away like dust before the wind. It was as though the angels danced through the shadows of doubt he had long clutched. "Embrace your mission, for trials await," the celestial voice continued, gentler now. "You are to be vessels of hope, your stories woven together to uplift others in your community testimonies of faith so that love can flourish." Clara's heart thumped with exhilaration, realizing that the empowerment they were receiving was a call to action. Their purpose extended beyond personal trials. It involved a collective transformation for Willowbrook. Her mind raced with the enormity of it. They were tasked with nurturing faith, binding their hearts to bring forth new life in their village. As the villagers exchanged glances of wonder, excitement blossomed in Clara's chest. "We will not falter," Benjamin shouted, raising his arms in defiance. "Let us share what we know, heal one another, and carry this light back home." "Yes," the crowd responded, reverberating with strengthened resolve. They were more than just witnesses. Together, they had become the embodiment of faith inspired by divine love. Suddenly, the shimmering feather floated down from the glimmering sky, landing gently in Clara's outstretched palm. She held it tightly, feeling the pulse of its meaning course through her veins. "This will be our symbol, a reminder of the angel's words together. Through trials and challenges, we continue to rise as one." The angels glided closer, their serene smiles encouraging. "Your journey does not end here. The dawn shall always break, but trust in one another as you face what lies ahead. When shadows loom, recall the light that you carry within." With their hearts full, Clara and her companions began to retreat, walking hand in hand, basking in the warmth of divine purpose. But as they stepped back into the familiar, Clara's resolve solidified. She would nurture faith not just in others, but in herself as well. As dawn's first light danced through the trees, the whispers of angels kissed the air, and Clara could feel change settle into her heart. They emerged into Willowbrook transformed, each step resonating with the echoes of their shared stories, a tapestry of light, woven together by faith, hope, and love. And in that moment, she understood. The challenges ahead would be met with unwavering conviction, and they would not face them alone. They were chosen, together, bound by purpose and fortified by the light of divine intercession. "Let's shine brightly," she declared, as village life began to stir around them, awakening to the promise of a new day. "Let us go forth, the chosen ones, ready to share our faith," echoed Martin, his voice now filled with fervor. The villagers nodded with understanding, hearts alive with passion, eager to weave a community of miracles and faith that would shine for all the world to see. And as Clara looked around at her friends and family, a joyful tear slipped down her cheek, a marker of all they would become together, as they started a new chapter in their unfolding journey, one rooted firmly in love. Let us walk forth into the light. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm with your support. Comment your reactions and testimonies about the ending, how this story has touched your heart. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. You need to subscribe now because this is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to share, because only true servants of God understand the importance of lifting each other in faith.